Hi, everyone. It's Rick Lawrence with Fred Oduyoye of Reachable Reconciliation, here for another Wednesday conversation. So, Fred, we're coming right out of the Super Bowl as we record this today, and you are a Cincinnati man.
That's right.
Not just you're a fan of Cincinnati, you live in Cincinnati, and you've lived with the heartbreak of Cincinnati for quite some time. And while it was a good game, there was heartbreak again. I'm sorry.
I know.
But I'm just curious, as you you and I were talking about some thoughts you had coming out of the Super Bowl relative to Cincinnati, and how those things might be bridging into or connecting to helping to create an environment that's inviting of reconciliation. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Rick, as you and I were dialoguing and you were talking about the score and the scoreboard and how it's kind of easy to reconcile by looking at points, right? We look on the scoreboard and we can tell who's winning, who's losing, who's on top, who's on the bottom. And of course, those of us that live in Cincinnati, we're used to just looking at the score and our hearts just, but this year was different, right? And so we're excited to be at the Super Bowl. But as a Cincinnatian, we're still very cognizant and mindful of watching that scoreboard, because we know at any moment it can change for us based on some of the historical patterns. Here's what's interesting though, Rick, is the obvious is, sure, everybody's looking at Burrows, right? And the obvious is the guy needs better protection, all right? That's where my heart is. Can we get some offensive linemen that can block and protect him so that he has more time, right? I mean, it's that front line, right? It's that front line that allows him to have space to be able to see the landscape. And so the parallel becomes this. What are the frontline precautions that we need to put in place as individuals that allow us to be able to see people? Just as Burrow's is in the pocket and he's able to have time to see people, right? Because, that's his representation. That front line, it represents them as a team. What are the frontline precautions as individuals that we need to put in place to allow us to see people, allow us to learn, allow us to listen? What are the tendencies that we need to change and the patterns that we need to adjust so that we can make sure that we're seeing people and that we're having patience and that we're learning? That's a question for you. Who dey?
There you go. I love that. And Fred, it just reminds me, your process of reconciling, it involves 5 R's. One of them is reactions. It's also reflection, repairs, reaching, and relationship, but reactions. And that's what it made me think of when you were describing that when you don't have a good offensive line, then your reactions don't have time to be well considered. Right. That's when you make mistakes, right? when you have to make too quick of an assessment of someone, or too quick of a response to someone that isn't well considered. So I think that's a great question.
Yeah, here's the other thing. If we make sure that our frontline precautions are in place, it also allows us to see the threats that are approaching us, right?
Oh yeah, the safety creeping up on your receiver. Yeah. Yeah. So
remember when Jesus was praying and he said, the time has come, arise, because the enemy is coming. He knew when the enemy was arriving before he got there. I'll let you sit on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Fred. Hey, and if you want to connect with Fred and learn more about his 5R process and get personal one-on-one help with either your church or yourself to help create reconciling environments, the way to do that is to visit Fred at his website, and you'll have the information just below this video on how to do that. All right, we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.